Ho, ho, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Forward Progress, live here on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, part of the Hammer Betting Network and powered by Pinnacle Sportsbook. I'm producer Jason, your host here every Friday on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, alongside Jack Miller right below me on Establish the Run, John Laghezza on my diagonal, some way, which way, from The Athletic, and then Matthew Freedman to my right or left. I can never tell with these screens, from the Fantasy Life here. We're here covering our best bets for this holiday weekend, super special holiday edition for you guys here. So if you can take a second out of your time here while you're watching, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 4,000 subscribers, guys. If we can get there by the new year, that'd be fantastic here. I believe we're at 3,930 subscribers. So we're 70 away from hitting that 4,000, that nice round number here. So if you can get us there, that'd be a big help. And if you want to tell one of your friends, feel free to do so as well. It goes a long way for us here. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor over at Pinnacle. Pinnacle is the world's sharpest sports book, offering competitive odds for 25 years. We often preach line shopping on this channel, and with everyday competitive odds, Pinnacle should be one of your available sports books here. If you're looking to support the show, make sure you use code HAMMER when signing up to Pinnacle. That's code HAMMER, HAMMER, when signing up to Pinnacle, your trusted sports book for 25 years. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. Must be 19 plus in Ontario, and please play responsibly here, guys. We got a loaded show for you today. We have, I think, 7, 8, or I think 9 props. We got a big one for you today, and we're going to start off strong here. We got John batting leadoff for us, and he's going to go for a fellow Canadian, a fellow friend of mine, not actually, but he's going to be looking towards that Bengals and Steelers game here. Last time we saw these two teams play, you had Jake Browning's first start, and he looked much different as a quarterback there. But you know what? Things have changed since then. Jake Browning's looking a little bit better. You get Chase Brown worked in a little bit here. No Jamar Chase, John. You're looking at Chase Brown receptions and his over in this game. Break down that handicap here for us.
Yes, we're going full Kyle Schwarber, big man, leading off. I mean, you really nailed one of the first points is Jamar Chase won't be there. And Chase Brown, I think, is the most explosive player left on that team. We also know Higgins might get a bit of the Porter treatment, although Higgins looked excellent in Chase's stead. He's not as good as Chase. Will get the majority of the attention. So I think that just right off the bat opens up the gate for Chase Brown. So we're looking for a reception ladder. 3 receptions is plus 110. The 4th reception is plus 300. We could chop it up 7 and 3, 8 and 2, however you like, Jay. Again, he's the most explosive back in the backfield. We've also seen his touch percentage kind of creep up slowly. Last 3 weeks since the return, 27, 31, and then 40. So, hey, man, one more step, and we're talking about a majority lead. No one here is clamoring for Joe Mixon. He's also had 3 receptions that we're looking for each of the last 2. And then with Browning as a starter, I was checking this out. He's bottom 3 in air yards per target and top 10 in RB target percentage. That number also spikes when blitzed. Pittsburgh defense, 4th highest blitz rate. They've allowed 11 running backs to go to 3 receptions or over. This one's also capped pretty closely. So we could easily find ourselves in a game script where, just getting a split load, whether it's drive for drive, if we're near even. Brown, I think, should be more than, see more than enough work to get these 3 catches. I'm actually hoping we get that 4th one in, but I didn't want to be too greedy. I do have Christmas presents to pay for.
I love it. I love it here, John. And I actually just did a little bit of quick line shopping here, and that 3.5 or over 2.5 receptions over at Pinnacle is available at that plus 132 price. So I'm going to split up our risk here. We're going to use separate sports books, and we're going to do what we always preach here on the show. We're going to line shop here. We're going to lock in 70. We're going to lock in 70 on the over 2.5 receptions at plus 132 over at Pinnacle on Chase Brown's receptions. You're going to lock that in. Then we're going to lock in that 4+ receptions at plus 310, which is available out there if you shop around at these sports books here. Reminder, we're locking all these plays in live on this show. You can find us over at BetSnap. Just search Forward Progress HQ, FWD Progress HQ, and you can find all of our plays tracked there live. Give us a follow, and you'll see how we've been doing on props this year. A hint, it's very, very, very good. All right, let's move on to the next game here. We're going to head over to the Sunday slate. And Matt, let's start with you here. You want to take a look at this Lions game, Lions and Vikings here. A ton of playoff ramifications here. Excuse me. The Vikings have a chance to kind of like do something really crazy and chaotic if they win this game. I'm rooting for the chaos here. Right now, the game's looking at it's a -3 right now over at Pinnacle, -101 for the Detroit Lions on the road here. Matt, you're looking at some receiver overs, specifically Khalif Raymond overs. So tell us a little bit about your handicap for this one here.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Khalif Raymond. By the way, shout out John, who has just absolutely been crushing week in and week out the ladder bets. And by the way, John, all business here. I'm wearing the holiday hat. I mean, holiday hat. Like I think Jack, you're wearing some sort of shirt that's festive. We got
elf shirt.
business just wearing the Pinnacle sweatshirt. I mean, like
Company man.
he came here just to bet. That's all that
Joe,
he's
you're
about.
mute.
And he's on mute, which is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's better off because I was screaming.
Boy.
Well, company man, I was saying I'm almost tired of looking at Christmas stuff. We are so Christmas files here. I decorated before Thanksgiving. I'm almost sick of looking at it. Literally have lasers and projectors going right now in my living room. A full-on Christmas village. Honestly, it is completely ridiculous here. It's really ridiculous.
All right. Well, okay. So anyway, shout out John for the Pinnacle sweatshirt and also just crushing the ladders. Khalif Raymond, this is a disgusting bet. I'm going over 10.5. I have it projected at 15.5. Probably be willing to bet it up to 12.5. Again, I've made some disgusting bets this year. This one might be the most disgusting, but Raymond has gone over this number in 11 of 14 games. He has an average of 10.2 yards per target this year. I mean, that's like very elite number, 9.9 since last year. So it's not as if it's like a 1 year fluky kind of thing. So basically, I'm hoping that he gets 2 targets in this game. If he has more, obviously that's great. But I'm hoping for just 2 targets. And his 10 games with 2 targets, or at least 2 targets, he's gone over 10.5 9 times. And even with just 1 target, because he's at 10.2 yards per target, he still has a pretty decent chance of going over 10.5 just based on his playmaking efficiency. So I like him at this number. It's a little bit of a buy low spot. 10.5 is the lowest that his yardage total has been over the past 2 seasons. So I think there's some good kind of buy low opportunity here. And he's just a part-time role player, but he still had a 31% route rate last week. Since the week 9 bye, he has a 22% target rate. That's from our utilization report at Fantasy Life. I mean, I think asking for 2 targets is not all that much of an ask. So over 10.5 for Khalif Raymond. He's like the number 4 wide receiver in that offense, but he gets at least a target every game. And this is just such a low number that I feel compelled to take the over.
Yeah, and we hear the narratives of Jared Goff in outside of his home environment here, but luckily enough on the road in a dome. So he's feeling a little bit safer here. So there's a little bit of cushion here for Khalif Raymond to hit that over of 10.5. And we locked that in at -110 here. Going to flip over to Jack, who's betting on the same game, betting on the same team, betting on a similar style or similar kind of wide receiver here, a guy towards the back half of the roster here for the Detroit Lions. But Jack, you're looking at an under, and I like that because it kind of lines up with Matt's bet here. So without bearing the lead here, Jack, who you got here? Tell us your handicap.
Yeah, I mean, we can all hope for Khalif Raymond to go for 150 yards because that would mean that targets are not going to Josh Reynolds, who I'm betting under 19.5 receiving yards on. Reynolds has had 2 of his 3 lowest route share games in the past 2 games. Last week, he was at just 50% route participation. Jameson Williams set a season high with 75% route participation. And for the first time all year, Jameson Williams really had, or the first time since gaining a bigger role, I guess I should say, Jameson Williams actually earned targets at a respectable rate. And then Matt was talking about how Khalif Raymond, he's not out there all the time, but when he is out there, he gets the ball, and he has a 0.2 targets per route run and 2.05 yards per route run. Josh Reynolds is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, especially from a target earning perspective. He's only at 0.13 targets per route run on the year. So with declining routes and not being very efficient at earning targets on those routes, I'm taking the under, especially against the Vikings defense that has been pretty respectable the past month or so. It is scary with Josh Reynolds, especially because he could get us on 1 catch. But I think given the declining routes and how inefficient he's been at earning targets when he's ran a route this season, I like the under 19.5.
Yeah, Matt.
Do we want just to put like a half unit on a same game parlay for this of like the Khalif Raymond over the Josh Reynolds under?
I'm down to do that. Let me it takes me a second here to work through the pricing. I'm going to lock that in here in just a second here, but we did lock in that play full unit -110 here at the under 19.5. That can be found widely available here. I'm game if you guys are game for that. It's Christmas, or it's the Christmas season. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. We've been red hot on this so far. So Jack, if you give us the okay, Matt, if you give us the okay, and John, you'll be the third third decision here. You're locking in. All right, I'm gonna lock that in just a second here. But before I do, I'm gonna throw to John here so I can give myself a little bit of time to try and figure out the pricing on those SGPs. I want to shop around a bit to try and find us the best price here. Chat, if you want to help out, I'm not going to complain about that either. So I'm going to do that quickly here. But before I get into that, John, we're going to throw to you here. We're going to flip back over to that Saturday slate of games here. And we got an early, John, you got an early Christmas gift for us here, right? You got a grab bag of props is what you described.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
To me here. And
this has actually been funny. I've been doing this the first time I've actually done this. Not to say ladders, but when I find a situation where I think there'll be some type of volume, where I think there will be a matchup that gets exploited, but I can't tell which one. Me just being, I'm like such a habitual cheapskate. I'm a conservative bettor. It is what it is. I've done this with Washington Commanders, for a good example of a team that we know there's like volume, but we don't know exactly where it's going to go. So give me Buffalo right off the bat. Yeah, I know they didn't have like whatever 12 dropbacks against Dallas or whatever, but they even came out of that game in the pressers and said that was not the plan. They showed a high level of efficacy and stayed with it. So I don't think the Bills are all of a sudden this like 1958 style, 80% run squad. So I do think right off the bat we're going to see a positive regression in pass rate. So, okay, we're going to go 2 alt reception props, no ladders. Let's just get one of these 2. The whole thing's a winner. The bar might be low enough to get them both, Jay. Let me know what you think. Okay. Gabe Davis, 4 receptions trying at the barf, plus 250. Dalton Kincaid, 5 receptions, plus 260. Again, the thinking being with an equal amount of risk, if we hit either one of these, the entire thing is a hit. And there's a very good chance that they both get to 4 and 5, respectively. All right, so Davis has been on the roller coaster. We know that. However, right, but he does still have a 90% route participation rate. That is elite. He's on the field every single play and still averaging at least 5 targets a game. He's averaging 5 targets a game, I should say, year to date. He has 4 receptions or more 4 times this year. Good, but not great. Kincaid. He had 5 or more receptions 7 games in a row. Like 7 games in a row, he hung the one goose egg, which we now know was really kind of script dependent, really feels like more of the anomalistic scenario. I don't know why this one is 260. So give me Kincaid. Against these Chargers who stink, bottom 3 EPA per dropback, completion percentage, and passing yards per game. You're going to see a heavy mix of cover 3, cover 6 between the two of them. It's about like 60%, by the way. So besides Diggs, Kincaid, and Davis are the only 2 Bills with a double-digit target per route run against those coverages. When we see the heavy zone, that's when we see the usage underneath. Again, I don't know if it'll be Davis or Kincaid, but I think we could get 4 and 5. Maybe we get them both, Jay.
Yeah, I love that here. Then I found the 2 Gabe Davis. You can shop around and find the +4 receptions at 265, and you can find the Dalton Kincaid 5+ receptions at the 260, like you said. They're going to lock those in here. I don't know if you guys want to field this question here just because it has to do with this Buffalo game here, but Milf Hunter in the chat is asking us thoughts on Josh Allen under 30.5 rushing yards here. Matt, if you have thoughts on this, 30.5 rushing yards at -114. He said Allen is running less this year, especially in less competitive games. Chargers D has been effective at limiting mobile quarterbacks on the ground. And I do believe they just waived, I forget which player they waived on their defense now. I'm not sure if there's any real impact there. But Matt, if you have any opinion on this, I'm just going to throw to you.
I have the projection at 33.7, so I'm probably not going under on that, but I don't know. No real strong opinion, but I would not lean under.
Yeah, fair enough here. And I think, like John said, I don't want to put words in John's mouth.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. One, Freedman, I'm right with you. I have like 34.1. We're totally in lockstep as far as projections go. The thing is, Buffalo, I know we all think they're going to boat race them. We don't actually know that for sure. What we do know is Buffalo's in a must-win scenario. And when Josh Allen has his back against the wall, he's more apt to just take off and run, and he can get this in 1 or 2 shots. Also, again, the Chargers defense is just awful. I wouldn't really be looking for unders in Buffalo with this one.
Yeah. Tyler, you might be new to the show, but no, that is Milf Hunter's first name. The M stands for Milf here. Jack, do you have any opinions on this one, or you kind of staying off like the guys here? What are your projections saying?
Yeah, I'm with these guys. We have 37.4. So yeah, I'm with these guys that I'm passing, but thank you, Milf Hunter, for the question.
We appreciate the chat from Milf Hunter here, guys. And just quickly before we get into our next prop here, just gonna ask you guys, 44 people watching live, if all of you guys could just hit that like button, we'd be able to clear our like goal for this episode of 50 likes here, guys. So Tyler, not your bad. Don't worry about it. Please. We love the chatters. Keep commenting. Makes the show a lot better. Makes it a lot enjoyable, both for us and for you guys in the chat. We love to interact with you guys here. Let's flip over back to the Sunday slate here. Matt, you're looking at the marquee matchup of the slate here. Tons. I love these games down the stretch with 3 weeks to go, because there's a lot of matchups with a lot of playoff ramifications here. If the Dallas Cowboys want to lock up this 1 seed, they need to win this game. If the Miami Dolphins want to lock up the 1 seed, they need to win this game here. We're looking at the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Miami Dolphins here. Right now, it's close to a pick. I mean, a lot of shops have the Dolphins at like minus 115, 120-ish here. We don't really give out touchdown scorers that often here, Matt, but I love the price on this one. I think I don't want to call it a misprice, but it feels like compared to the other running backs on this Miami Dolphins team, it might be a little bit of a misprice here. So why don't you tell us about your touchdown bet for this game?
Yeah. By the way, just quick comment on John's bets there for the Bills. He's going to be so tilted when Dawson Knox has like 8 receptions and Gabe Davis and
that's the death knell. That is
miss just by that one reception there. Okay, I'm looking at Raheem.
That's
Mostert.
experience speaking. I know.
Yeah, I'm looking at Raheem Mostert anytime touchdown here. I bet at minus 115. It's now like minus 125 to minus 130 across the industry, and like I have it projected in that range, but I don't know. This is more of like a vibes bet versus like a projection bet. Like I just don't see Raheem Mostert, given what he's done and given that the Cowboys are totally deficient in run defense. I just kind of don't see Raheem Mostert as not scoring a touchdown in this game. The Dolphins Cowboys game, easily the highest on the total. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The highest total on the week, anywhere from 49.5 to 50.5. So I think like we see points in this game. The Dolphins are home favorites, so they could have a little bit more of a run leaning game script. And then, I mean, the Cowboys, number 32 in defensive rush success rate. Like they're not like getting executed like an EPA, like getting their heads chopped off, but like they're getting killed with 1,000 paper cuts in run defense. Like they just cannot stop anyone. And the thing is, like Mostert is the kind of runner where if he's successful, like with the high success rate, he actually does have the explosiveness to be able to turn that into a long gain. So I think there's some possibility here of like bad, like preliminary run defense for the Cowboys turning into like bad, like chunk play defense for the Cowboys in the running game. And I mean, Mostert, oh, by the way, Cowboys without Jonathan Hankins, their main run stuffing defensive tackle, that I think ends up hurting them quite a bit. And Mostert, like 20 touchdowns, league high 20 touchdowns, like right there with Christian McCaffrey. He scored in 11 of 14 games this year. Since the week 10 bye, 5 games there, he's scored 7 touchdowns. He's like certainly one of my fantasy favorites this week. And then you just look at James Cook last week and what like he was able to do. I mean, against the Cowboys, absolutely ridiculous. 179 yards on the ground and a touchdown, 42 yards through the air and a touchdown. Like I know that Raheem Mostert will have to split some work with Devon A-Chain, but I think there's room for like both of those guys to eat in this like Christmas. It's not Christmas Day, but they're both going to feast in the Christmas festival.
It's the Dolphins feast of the 7 fishes. Or let me ask you a question: you're calling BS on the practice report? Because I'll be honest, when I saw the second consecutive DNP for Mostert, I know I got a couple messages. People asked me if I was worried. I thought after the first one it was veteran rest. He's earned it. They need it. Oh, you're calling, and that's fine. I don't know if you're right or wrong. Nor do I think
so my thinking is that, and they are listing it as veteran rest, and like he has had in previous practice sessions, like they have given him DNP. So like I'm not too worried about it. And my thinking is that if it's enough to where like it's a real thing and he doesn't play, then the bet is void anyway, and it kind of doesn't matter. But like if he's out there, I think they're going to treat him like he's the guy.
Right. Jay, you want to get Hector really quick? Check it out. Dolphins, if the O-line is decimated, it doesn't matter. Mike McDaniel's scheme is not based on smash mouth run between the tackles. He creates space. It's really creative. They use motion and pulls and drags and all kinds of creative stuff. It doesn't matter. In fact, McDaniel's run game might be better with a bad offensive line because he's going to put more thought into scheming up space. So again,
I wouldn't go that far. I would rather have the starting offensive lineman in there than not.
Freeman, it's Freeman, you Grinch.
No, I do agree that I feel like because like that offense is so based on scheme versus like the talent of the guys in the trenches, it's not as big of a loss as it would be with a lot of other teams.
Fine, that's the rational way of saying it.
Yeah, and like you mentioned here with the Raheem Mostert touchdown, just looking around, there's a -110 that's widely available, but the market is starting to get up high. I'm seeing some shops hang like a -180 on him to get a touchdown. So if you're looking to bet this, guys, don't wait on this. And it's something you want to bet. You might want to scoop this up now because for sure, as we get closer to this Christmas Eve games, everyone's going to be betting those touchdown props. This price is going to get absolutely moved for sure here. And then I also just wanted to comment on Devon Achane here because I feel like that's where a lot of the love has gone. I believe 2 weeks ago, Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert were about even, the same price. They both score a touchdown here. And we've seen the work go more towards Mostert, whether that be McDaniels just want to keep Achane healthy or if they just trust Mostert more. Not really sure exactly what that is here, but Mostert we see is getting the usage here. The market is saying, though, like a +120 for Devon Achane. If like John Laghezza, if you're worried, like you said, John, if you're worried about the practice report here for Mostert, there is a +165 anytime TD, which is by far the best price in the market over at Pinnacle for Achane to score a touchdown here. So if you're getting wind of Mostert potentially not playing, keep an eye on Pinnacle. You might want to go and chase that.
Yeah, if he practices, Jay, that price is going to nosedive. Freeman's reading the tea leaves. Not everyone is doing that. A lot of people see the DNPs and think, oh, maybe he's going to be limited. He's actually might be the best he's going to be because he's got 2 days of rest.
Asymmetric risk here if he doesn't play, like Matt said, void, and if he does, you're getting good value on that prop here. All right, enough talking about this game, even though it's a fun game. Let's talk about a more gross game, the Sunday Night Football matchup between the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos here. I think the only reason I will be watching this game is to avoid political talk at the Christmas dinner table here, but nevertheless, let's move on to this game. Jack, listen, I'm going to give you the award for grossest bet of the week here for this game. I know we have a Khalif Raymond over 10.5, but you're looking at a Bailey Zappi rushing under here. So to break down this handicap here for us in this game.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of political talk, Freedman was teetering on the edge there with crediting Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins' success. The Tua Dolphins fans are going to be after your throat there. But I'm going with Bailey Zappi under 6.5 rush yards. He's played the majority of snaps in 7 games, and he's only gone over twice. And dating back to his days at Western Kentucky, not much of a runner. So it's really not that much more complicated than that, the thought process here. He seems like a guy where we have his mean projection right around this number, actually a little higher, but on a median, we expect him to go under this more often than not.
Fair enough here. And you can see 6.5 -105 widely available here. A couple of shops hanging that. A couple -110s, a couple -108s, but there are some 5.5s here. We're starting to see that potentially that turn from the 6.5 down to that 5.5 here. So again, if you want to bet this, if it's something you want to bet, make sure you want to get in early and you want to bet it now. And if you are betting it now, do us a favor and hit that like button. It's only 1 click away. So it would really help support the show and boost us in the algorithm here. We got 2 more bets for you. Before we do that, though, I got a pricing on this the Detroit Lions SGP we got here a little bit earlier. It's +226 here for the under 20.5. I was able to get a 20.5 on one of these sports books of Josh Reynolds receiving yards mixed with the over 10.5 Khalif Raymond receiving yards. You can find that at +226. But again, shop around. You might be able to find a better price in here. I'm going to lock that in for a half unit on our on BetStamp here. Let's go to the second last prop we have on the board here. John, you've been crushing the reception ladders lately. You got one lined up for this Tampa Bay Bucks and Jacksonville Jaguars game. Rashad White has been an absolute target sponge here. I don't want to bury the lead. Tell us about your handicap.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one I like the most. If I had to pick one to get us to Disneyland, this is the one. It's Jacksonville, Tampa. Give me the Rashad White reception ladder. We're going to start at 4. That one's +110. We're going to go to 5. That one's +250. We're going to even try to get it to 6. That one's +550. Jay, you can either go 7-2-1 or 8-1-1. That's up to you, however you want to make the sauce. So he's hit the base rung of the ladder. That's 4 receptions. He's hit that 5 times already. He's also at the top rung 3 times. So, I like that. There's obviously a pathway to get there. Only Kyron Williams and Christian McCaffrey have a higher snap percentage. He's going to be on the field basically every single play. He's second among all running backs in routes per dropback, and he's top 5 in receptions. And going up against Jacksonville, they've kind of turned themselves into one of the new pass funnels. It's the high blitz rate. They're top 6 in blitz rate. They also have a very high defensive success rate, like above 64%. And that's manifested in the receptions allowed to running backs. They're giving up the most. They're dead last in that. And I got 11 running backs have gone over 4, but only one of them was at 4. Sorry, my note's a little scripted there. The rest of them were 6, right? 5 were 5 and 5 were 6. So we've actually had 5 running backs clear this top rung already this season, 1 out of every 3 games. And again, I mean, this one just kind of makes sense. When Mayfield gets pressed, you could easily see him just dumping it down to White, who's gained a lot of confidence in the offense. He's even shown some pop. And I mean, I feel like 4 catches is getting off the bus. I don't know why this one is plus money. Maybe we had a little bit of a down game, but again, I love to buy low, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I love that. I love this angle here. And we talked a little bit about the Jacksonville Jaguars last week here. And you put me on to them being a bit of a pass funnel here later on in the season here. I was afraid to play these passing props or these rushing props against this Jaguars defense, which has been super good for the first half of the year. But John, you put me onto this, that towards the latter half, they've completely done a shift in production.
Browning house them, it's
exactly shift up. We just saw Lamar Jackson 2 weeks ago do it too, or 3 weeks ago. Anyways, we saw Lamar do it a couple. Anyways, let's lock this in here. We got the plus 115. I was able to find that
even better. Yeah, go for it.
Over 3.5 here at we're gonna lock that in for 70. We're gonna do plus 260 of the over 4.5. We're gonna do that or risk 20, and then we're gonna do the 6+. It's a 7+. 7+ now at the. What is it? Plus 7+ at plus.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll figure
550 on Bet365.
6+. That's what I'm looking at here. So the 6+ at plus 550 here. Oh my God, I'm stumbling over my words here. And we're gonna do that for $10 here. Anyways, let's get to the last prop of the day here. It's gonna be on the Sunday night football, or is it Sunday night? No, it's not. It's the 4:00 game. Excuse me. The 4:00 game on Monday here. I'm all over the place here. New York Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Before we get to this game here, I want to remind everyone that we will be doing a live Monday watch along of the Monday night game. Excuse me. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I'll be live alongside Rob. We're going to have a couple of guests live here on the show. And I know Jay, who is in the chat here, is a constant, a frequent watcher of our live watch alongs. We have a ton of fun during the game here. So if you want to watch the game with us, please feel free to do so. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to be notified exactly when we go live for this game here. Let's get back into our props. Last one on the board here from Matt. Matt, I mean, you smashed this one last week. You're looking to go back to the well this week in the New York Giants Philadelphia Eagles game. Who do you got here and why?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts over 0.5 interceptions. I bet this at plus 160. And, I think it's still like in that general vicinity, but certainly like plus 140. I think it's still bettable there. I have this projected at plus 120. So Hurts, like needless to say, has not been his best this year. And then now he's, on this situation where, post Monday Night Football, recovering. I'm imagining he's like totally fine now from like the flu that he had last week, but still he wasn't in great health last week, traveling cross country from Seattle back to Philadelphia. It's just kind of like a subpar travel situation. And then 14 games this year, 12 interceptions overall, a 2.6% interception rate, which is the highest mark he has had throughout his nearly 3 years as a starter at this point. And the Giants have, I wouldn't say it's a good defense. Like they don't have a good defense, but they have like an aggressive defense. Like they're willing to try to gamble to get interceptions. They have 13 interceptions this year, all of which have come since week 5. So they were like totally putrid in the first month of the season. They're still not good, but at least they're like aggressive and like a little ball hockey since week 5. And the thing that like, if this bet doesn't hit, I think it will be, okay, the Eagles at home, massive favorites. They got out to a big lead, and that means Jalen Hurts didn't have to attempt many passes. And because they have a big lead, when he was attempting passes, he didn't need to be aggressive with it, which means he wasn't putting the ball at risk. So, I think it's likelier than not that Hurts stays clean and doesn't throw an interception. But at plus 160 odds, that's just like too tempting to pass up, given that he has an interception in 8 of 14 games here. So I don't think that this is likely to happen. That's, implied by the plus 160 odds, but I think it's just a little too far.
Yeah, and something that was like a little interesting to note on the Manning cast last Monday, Christian McCaffrey, I believe, was on, and when they were watching the Philadelphia Eagles, he was able to kind of not list out, but just kind of say what plays they were going to run, almost like Tony Romo-esque. And if a guy who's in the league is able to do that on offense, who doesn't really study your offense, you're probably giving away too much and you're running too simple of an offense here.
They miss Steichen bad, man.
Yeah, they really do. He was an engine for that offense. Brian Johnson just not doing the same thing that Steichen has done for them. Matt, you wanted to chime in on that?
No, that was a great point, Jason, with Christian McCaffrey being able to diagnose. And like Sirianni was like defending Brian Johnson by saying like, hey, it's not his fault. It's like, it's the same offense. But that like speaks to your point. Like it is the same offense. They haven't really done anything since last year to innovate what they're doing. And because of that, I think it is a little bit easier for the defenses to game plan and to sort of like anticipate what it is that they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and I believe they've won 5 one-score games here. It's crazy to think where they would be if they didn't have the tush push. Obviously, they do, so it's not a slight against them. They do. The tush push is a massive play for them, but it'd be crazy to think where they would be if they had to, be as efficient as they are in the red zone without that play. It'd be a lot tougher for this Eagles team. But again, they have it, so you can't knock them for having that. And yeah, that wraps it up here for us, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I want to wish you guys, before we head off here, happy holidays. I want to thank Matt, Jack, and John for joining us during the holiday season, guys, taking time out of their week here when they are to be spending time with their families here. We really appreciate it, guys. So for them doing that, guys, smash the like button. It does a lot for us over here. Just quick reminder before we head off, Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Rob will be doing the pizza buffet this Christmas Eve, but we will not be doing a Forward Progress live show at 8 p.m. at night here. We're going to be spending time with our families here. So, guys, please enjoy the time with your families. Talk to them, enjoy it, because, again, we don't really have that much time where we get to sit down and enjoy that with our families here, guys. I always preach that. And, again, George said something on Circles Off a couple weeks ago. If you don't have anyone or family to reach out to here, sometimes it can be a lonely time around the holiday season. Guys, I know my DMs are open. I know Matt, Jack, John, they probably reflect the same thing here. Please feel free to reach out if you're feeling lonely. We're always here to support everyone in this community, guys. So again, this is a positive time of year. If you're feeling lonely, DMs are open. And yeah, we appreciate you. That's all I got to say here from us over on Forward Progress here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in here. For myself, for John, for Jack, for Matt, this has been Forward Progress, powered by Pinnacle on the Hammer Betting Network, guys. We'll catch you later. Good luck on your bets and happy holidays.